Good morning. Happy Friday. Welcome to Coffee Chat with Abby. Actually, I'm having tea today because I already had my coffee. I'm doing some mint tea. This video is not health and wellness related specifically. It's not business related. It's more just real life raw. Notice I'm not in my office. I'm sitting on my bed. I felt like it was just too intimate of a video to share from my office because this is just about raw real life. And I usually film in my office because it's quieter. So if you hear some little children in the background, it's because I'm in my room and there's not as many doors separating us. But I've just had something on my heart to share for a while. And I was trying to encourage myself to go live with this video and not do it pre-recorded so that I couldn't change it. But I don't think I'm going to change the video. But it's just like a really close to the heart topic. And so I didn't want to go live with it. I don't know. It's funny, you would think that as much as we are in front of the camera and we share our lives on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram that I wouldn't get nervous to film myself, but I definitely do still get nervous depending on what the content is. So that seems like a really big buildup for not that big of a thing. But anyways, here we go. I'm gonna take a sip of tea. So you guys know that I believe that positive influence on social media that influence on social media should be not negative and not neutral. It should only be encouraging, uplifting, positive. I don't believe in airing dirty laundry on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. And I really try to hold true to that. But I think one of the downfalls is that sometimes it feels like you're acting like everything's okay and putting out your best foot forward, which is important. But I think it's also important to be raw and real because no one's life is perfect. Nothing that, everyone goes through hard things. And I feel like if we just put out always only the highlight, like Facebook and Instagram and stuff can feel like a highlight reel and less like actual real life. And that can tend to make people feel like, they don't have it together or whatever. Now, all of you that know me in real life know I'm a hot mess. So it's no surprise, but there has been something the last several months going on that we haven't been super vocal in sharing about just because it has been hard and it's like we don't want to be negative. But I told Brent the other day, I feel like I'm making this video for myself too because it'll be healing in some ways because we've just been going through a lot with our foster care journey lately. And I feel like I've had a lot of guilt. I don't owe anyone an explanation, right? We've chosen through Brenton's job as a head football coach and through my job as an independent health coach to share a lot of our lives on social media. We don't share everything for good reason. Not everything is needed to be shared. But we try to be authentic and we try to be real. And like I said, I don't owe anyone anything, but I'm doing this more for myself and just to offer insight and hope to someone else that maybe is feeling a little discouraged right now. So, yeah, I told you this was going to be squirrely, which was one of the reasons I didn't want to go live. So if we're 3 minutes in and you're still hanging on, yay, good for you. I have good friends. But basically, yeah, the last several months has been really hard. Brent and I have been foster parents for 5 years and it's not been an easy journey. Foster care isn't an easy journey. It's actually really hard. It comes with a lot of brokenness and a lot of trauma, but there's also a lot of God's grace and redemption in it. And it's something that we have felt called to. And we've built our family in a lot of ways through that. We have our adopted son, Brenner, who was adopted through foster care, and he's a light and a joy in our life. And that doesn't mean that doesn't come with trauma too, because it does. There's always brokenness whenever children have had to be removed from their biological family and placed in their new family. And we've been able to serve very well in that way for the last almost 5 years. It'll be 5 years in April. So the last few months since we got our last placement back in October have literally been the most challenging months of our entire 11-year marriage and our family. And we, for the first bit, were just trying to make it through and just push through and know that it was going to be hard because foster care is hard. And I think in the last several months, and this is not the kids' fault, you guys, like these kids, any kid in foster care has, like I said, been through trauma and brokenness. But as you're bringing a family together kind of instantly, there's bound to be like hiccups along the way. And, you know, like I said, Brent and I have been through a lot in our marriage. We've had premature babies and we've had NICU stays in our own biological building of our family. We've had a lot of moves with job changes and a lot of different things. And I feel like, you know, my father-in-law gave us really good advice when we were first married. And he was like, look, the challenges you go through are either going to like make you or break you. You've got to lean into each other and lean into God. And with him as the center of your marriage and the two of you focus, like you're going to make it through anything. And we've always done that. And we continue to do that. So this isn't like that kind of video. Like we're fine. But all that to say is that the last few months have taken a toll on our family and our marriage. And so I just feel like in some ways I've been putting out all this stuff on social media, like everything's great and dandy, when like internally we've been struggling so hard in our home. Being parents of 6 kids is hard no matter what. But anyways, there's a lot of emotions this week because it's coming into next week. Our 2 littlest foster loves are going to be leaving our home and moving on to the next step in their journey on the end of next week. And so there's just been it's just been a lot. You know, I kind of lost myself a little bit in it, and it kind of makes you feel a little bit crazy because you feel like a failure. You feel like, you know, to admit the struggle that you're going through has somehow caused you to admit like, oh, I shouldn't have done this, or I'm not doing it well. And, you know, there's a lot of mom guilt. I'm not showing up for my older kids well because of the needs of the younger 2. And so all that to say, there's just a lot of emotions coming as we're about to go through this next big transition in our family. And then there's a lot of emotions coming because we have decided to go inactive for an indefinite amount of time and take a break to just get back to the core values of who we are and the things that are important to us. So we are going to be taking a break from foster care, and God has been so faithful in the journey. And I don't believe in coincidences, and I don't believe that anything that's happened has been for naught. I think we have been able to pour in these boys' lives, and we have been able to share the love of Jesus with them. We have been able to get them a lot of the services that they need. And so I think, you know, even though our family has suffered kind of through the placement, I think that it has been good for the boys, and I'm excited to watch them, you know, move on to where they're headed, which I can't share a lot about that, obviously, privacy reasons, but I just have a lot of mixed feelings. I feel like every time, I mean, there's always sadness every time. Like you guys saw it. I lived it out loud on social media when our last little Briggsy left, and I was broken. And I feel like I'm going to be sad, but there's going to be a lot of healing when these boys go on, just that I get to focus on my 4 kiddos that God's entrusted me with. And we also know that God has big things on the horizon for our family, and we are super excited to watch him work in whatever we're called to next. And yeah, like I said, I don't owe anyone an explanation, but I feel like just for my heart, it was important for me to just put this out there. And, you know, I know not everyone is foster parents, but we all have our struggles, and we all have things we're going through, and we all have things that make us feel less than or failure or a little bit crazy at times, right? Like, why is this so hard? Why am I having such a hard time dealing with whatever XYZ situation is? And I just wanted to give you the encouragement that, like, God calls us to different seasons in our lives, and he doesn't promise that it's always going to be easy. And, you know, I think the people nearest and dearest to you, like, see how hard things are, and maybe not everyone on social media does all the time, you know, as you go through harder seasons, and that's okay. But I just want to remind you, like, if you're in a season of discouragement or overwhelmedness or, you know, mixed feelings about whatever is happening, just to not be so hard on yourself, to give yourself grace. And I need to take my own advice because I have not given myself very much grace. I've been constantly battling in my head, like, what's the right thing to do in this situation? How do I best serve my family? How do I best serve these boys? And I think I'm rambling at this point, and this video is like over 10 minutes, so probably no one's gonna watch it. But like I said, it's more for me than anyone else. But yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to come on here and say, and to just also like go back to the things that are important and that make you happy, and like rest in the grace that God has for you. And I think it kind of throws me back to when I was very first a mom. Like, momhood is hard to figure it out. And you know, it's never a perfect journey. It's progress over perfection. My neighbor can tell you we probably yell way too much in this house. But just knowing that like you as a sinful human are gonna fail at things, and you're gonna have mixed feelings about things, and you're gonna feel upset or sad or angry or all the things because you're human and it's a sinful world. And we know that by our own strength, like we can't accomplish anything, we can't do anything. And we know that the only like love and goodness that comes out of our heart comes straight from the Holy Spirit working in us. And so I just want to take my own advice and encourage you in your season of hard to just reflect on what Jesus has done on the cross, reflect on what God has done in your life and how he's working even through the hard, and how like nothing is for naught. And if you're not in a season of hard right now, good. I'm glad. You know, a season of hard is probably coming because we go through ups and downs, peaks and valleys. But you know, maybe like find someone in your life that is in a season of hard, and love on them, and give them words of encouragement, and remind them that they aren't alone and that it's going to be okay. So that was my 12-minute tea chat. And like I said, I don't really believe in negative or neutral, but I think raw and real can be important because you're not the only one going through what you're going through. And if you being raw and real can help someone else and help yourself heal through some feelings and emotions, then I think that's a good thing. I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. And if you stuck in this whole video, thank you.